Hello and Ramadan Kareem. I am Fariha Rahman back with another live. Welcome to the 18th workshop for Protik Ceramics Presents Plexus 3.0 Candescent Carnival. We're almost at the end and we only have a few days left of our live workshop. So thank you to those who have been here with us throughout this journey. And for those who have yet to register, registrations are open till the 30th of this month, so only 4 more days left for your chance to take part in our mega event. As you may already know, this event consists of 19 segments and 57 subsegments. So it is a great opportunity for everyone to showcase their talents and be judged by about I would also like to talk about our new venture for Plexus For Youth, Anandapat. Anandapat is the first ever edtech company in Bangladesh where skill development courses, ECA courses, and guidelines will be provided globally through an online platform. Now, moving on to today's workshop, the topic is a very important topic. It is public speaking, and joining here with us is Ahnaf Zarif Rahman, a multi-talented individual and a friend. So, without further ado, let's welcome our guest.
Thank you so much. I don't really know about the multi-talent bit, but thank you for having me, and for everyone tuning in. I'm Zarif. I want to now say what most people call me Zarif, so you guys can just call me Zarif. And yeah, so just really happy to be here. I'll try my best to talk about public speaking. Right now, I'm working in an accounting firm in London and finished my graduation a couple of years ago. And that is what I do. Like, that's my day job. And in general, in my free time, I do a bit of freelance writing, sports writing. I have a podcast. So that's basically all I do. Eta mainly like আমি এমন না যে খুব prepare করে আসছি. I want it to be interactive, and I want to be able to help you guys. So whatever questions you have, that's great. Whatever questions you have, please keep them coming. Basically, I feel like public speaking is such an important tool for the youth and for any profession you go into. I would say public speaking is a definite an asset to have. So yeah, and this is walaikum assalam and Ramadan Kareem to everyone as well. And thank you again for being here.
What time is it? You're in the UK, right?
Yeah, I'm in the UK, so it's about, what time is it? It's about 5:45, 6. So I don't know if
you have a star?
No, it's at 8:30, 8:50, 8:20, 30. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. We have a star pretty early in Bangladesh, so it's a blessing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, last year I had Ramadan Dhaka, so that was the best. But yeah, it's a little longer, but it's okay. We're used to it now. It's already been 12, 13 days. So
yeah, I mean, in the US, it's even worse. Like, it's at 10 almost. So yeah, kind of
10, really?
better.
Yeah, for sure.
I lived in Michigan, and it was at 10, and it was really bad.
That's really 10. We had 9:30, 9:45, like 9:50 a couple of years ago.
Then like it's after dinner time.
Yeah, it is. It's well after dinner time essentially, but yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's just for a month, so actually we no need to complain. It's okay, worth it.
So,
thank you, Ahnaf Zarif. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Yeah. So I guess should I just start now? I feel like obviously everyone has.
Yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah, like main important. I feel like the question everyone asks is, uh, how do you build up the confidence, like to speak in public, right? Like, what do you have to say for that?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you and Ramadan Mubarak. I think someone commented. So basically, what I would say is the confidence. It doesn't really come ekdine. I think it's because like I've grown up doing things which Keval, I've grown up doing things that have made public speaking a necessity for me. So obviously, Choto
Yeah,
Belai, I remember, I think class six, we had the choice of school clubs, and I really wanted to, I really wanted to be in guitar club, but my mom forced me to go into debate club, which I think in hindsight was a really good thing for me. Debating teaches you so much. Ajkal, I know there's a lot of MUN and everything, but I think what makes debate better than MUN is there's a lot of in-depth research and everything into topics that go on every day because debated topic gula ogula niyei hoy. So it's very Oita I think was a really good stepping stone for me in terms of learning in terms of learning public speaking because debate not only do you have to speak but you also need to know what you're talking about, so it's hard to lose track of it, but it's also very important. It's also very important how much you research you do and how confident you are on stage, and also you learn a lot of things. You learn how to make your point. You learn how to make your point. You learn how to do your research properly, and you learn how to put forward your point because knowledge is only good up to the point where you can represent it. So unless you can replicate it on paper or when you speak, there's always an issue. So I think debate was a great setting stone. Wait, I think I'll just answer a question. What was your inspiration for Tiger On? There's no inspiration. It's just a passion project. Basically, my Boro Mama was a writer as well. He's a cricket writer. He just published a book. So I think growing up, obviously he was there. He's an ex-cricketer as well. So the love for cricket kind of comes from there. Onar Nam Shakil Qasim, and he used to write for like Crick Info and everything. So it kind of comes from there. And then yeah, I just put my own spin on it. Idol, I guess my
What's your
mom's my
best achievement?
best
Something.
achievement. I guess it's yet to come. I mean, I'm not really.
So far,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
so far,
happy
what,
with. Sorry.
so far, what's the best achievement?
So far, I guess graduating. I think that's a pretty big first step for anyone. I think having a graduation under your belt is very important because graduate corp or yeah, you can sometimes you won't like your first job. You might not like a professional degree or whatever, but to graduation to you retain, and that's very important, and that's something you have.
Or
It's solid. So I'd say I
and
guess
after
that.
graduating first or second or third in class, that helps too.
That helps. Yeah, that definitely helps. From when are you debating? I started in class six, and I debated all through school, A levels, and then a little through uni. Something that demotivated me. Not really. I mean, obviously, failures demotivate you, and they do get me. Like, obviously, kashto hai to deal with that. But in
But
general,
it's a
uh,
part of
in
learning,
general,
right?
I
Like
guess nothing.
failure is a part of learning, though. It's you know.
Yeah. Was there any step back? Yeah, I'm facing honestly like there's step backs or as in setbacks all the time because आजकल का job market and everything is so. आजकल का job market is so it's you have to be a vulture honestly. So there's setbacks all the time. You'll be failing stuff all the time. Your boss will scream at you all the time. But I think setbacks are normal as long as you learn from it. Acha Bhaiya, can you give us some tips for yeah, okay, so that is what I've prepared. I think so I'll give you guys a few tips. You guys can take notes or take pointers. I think it might help, but I think a disclaimer is public speaking is very personal. So Amarjuna, whatever works for me might not work for you. Whatever works for you might not work for me. So yeah, try and keep a note of things I might say, but again, that's completely up to you what you follow, and other things might work for you, to be honest. So if I start, I'd say one thing is preparation. And I think preparation, again, going back to my debate point, I did some MUNs as well. And in both cases, it was very important. Um, Jay, it's very important to prepare what you want to talk about, because unless you prepare, it's unlikely that you're going to go up on stage or you're going to go up in front of people and instantly know. Yeah, obviously some people are smart enough and talented enough to know what they will say right on spot, but usually it's not possible. So I think preparation is a key thing. But what is the issue? What the issue is with preparation is that preparation is not memorization. So, because when I was debating or MUNing or even later in uni or during like uni presentations or at work, I've seen a lot of people who memorize their content, and hey, their knowledge might be 100 on 100, but when you memorize, you become very rigid, and it's not nice for the audience to listen to, because it just sounds like you're reading it out. Even if you're literally not reading it out from a paper, it sounds like you're reading it out from a paper. So I think that's an issue. I'm seeing the questions, but I'll just go towards at the end. So if you could ask me then again, that would be great. I think my second point is body language. Body language, the first point I would say is eye contact. Eye contact is very important. So if you're debating to three judges, so it's very easy to make eye contact because এই তিনজনই শুনতেছে, and ওদের সাথে কথা বলতে হবে বা ওদের সাথে you maintain eye contact and you speak to. So it's not that bad. But it becomes a little more difficult when it's a bigger crowd. So tokon you kind of have to shift from person to person. I don't think it's not that great to look at someone. Like it's not that great to just it's not really a good idea to look at someone specific, like too creepy. But generally eye contact with the crowd, as long as you're looking at someone, that's good. Like you shouldn't be looking into space, or the worst thing is looking down, because that makes you look like you're not confident with your content. And if you yourself are not confident, then that's an issue. People will not want to listen to you. Power stance. You need to look the part. You need to look like the most prominent person in the room when you're speaking, because everyone is looking at you. So power stance, no crossing arms. You need to look confident. You need to have this open stance. You need to be approachable. The shobai jate people can listen to you, talk to you, and everything. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of good wishes, so thank you. So again, and in terms of the appearance thing, no fiddling. Try not to be like, it shouldn't look like you have something on your mind. When 100% focus হচ্ছে কথা বলার সময় কথা, just ওইটাই. Everything else needs to go poof. কারণ if you're fidgeting, এদিক ওদিক তাকাবা, বা you're looking at your teammate, you're looking at backstage, then that's the problem. কারণ তখন the audience feels insulted because you're not focusing on them. So that's always important. Pace. I think eta is one of my biggest problems. I'm sorry if that's something I'm doing now, is speaking too quickly, or I'm sorry if I'm doing that, but pace is a problem that I struggle with. Now, and I remember my first debate audition before I got on the school team, our speech was it was supposed to be 8 minutes. I gave it in 2 minutes, even though I had content. But the issue was that I was speaking too quick. So তখন আমার instructor ছিল একটা ভাইয়া, সিনা ভাইয়া is a very impressive guy. She also, you're fine. What you're saying is fine. Your analysis is good, but you're not taking time. So you're not taking time on each point. So pace is very important. Speak slowly, speak clearly, speak in a manner that everyone understands. Because এখন আজকে if someone asks me to talk about cricket, I know everything. আমি বলতে পারি, জানো ওই যে ব্রেটলি ওই দিন ওটা করছিল, but I have to keep in mind যে সবাই ওটা জানবে না. So you need to be clear. You need to say it in a way যে ওই মানুষটা কিছুই জানেন. I know a lot of teachers say this as well. Like you need to be able to explain your points in a way that someone who had no idea of the topic will have some idea of the topic from you, essentially. So I think that's a really important thing. And that brings me to a next point, which is audience. Karon, yeah, there will be times when your audience will be very varied, very scattered, onek backgrounds থাকবে, and তখন you take a general approach. But if let's say you're speaking if you're a doctor and you're speaking in a doctor's conference, then you have to speak in that manner, because those doctors will already know some things, and those doctors are also unlikely to know something, I don't know, really technical about economics or accounting or something really like commerce-y, basically, like Bangla bole. So তখন you need to pay attention to যে আমি commerce-এর জিনিস explain করবো, but our medical জিনিসগুলো আমার বেশি explain করা লাগবে না, because that'll just bore the doctors. আমি যদি এখন ডক্টরদের সামনে গিয়ে জ্বর নিয়ে কথা বলি, then they know all of that. তো ওদেরকে, and once you bore someone, it's very difficult to win them back, because winning people is difficult, but losing people is very easy in a public speaking platform. So yeah, acha, before I move on, any tips for beginners? I think just oitai, I am getting there. I think any tips for beginners, I'll answer. I mean, I think my next points will easily manage you. I have stage fright. How do I manage? Honestly, stage fright is something that takes time. Like our first, I remember our first car ekdom hat pa kaptechilo, and my palms were sweaty. But it takes time when you keep talking, when and you can't be too hard on yourself. Every time learn something. যে আমি যে এতগুলা point বলতেছিলাম, I don't. It's not possible to কি বলবো, to put that all in motion in one speech. So every time আচ্ছা আমি এইবার stand stick করলাম, এইবার pace stick করলাম. It's very important to keep notes of where you're going wrong, where you're going right. Keep doing the things you're doing right, and the rest of it you learn from it. Because or else, that I think that's honestly the best way to do it. Because it's just practice. Like I think with any given thing, be it sports or studies or anything, practice is important. Like আমাদেরকে math করার সময় বলতো practice করো, speech দেওয়ার সময় বলতো practice করো, খেলার সময় বলতো practice করো. Practice is important. So whatever you learn, I think that's it. And in terms of, I think one of the previous question, how like that moves me on to my next one, which is personal touch. I think I see a lot of people, like I mean I watch a lot of stand-up comedy and everything, and I watch a lot of like rising stand-up comedians, and what I've noticed is everyone tries to have a unique style. The second you try to copy someone, of course you watch Elon Musk, you watch I don't know, Steve Jobs videos because they're incredible public speakers, or even Hitler for instance, but you try not to copy it. You try to take their strong points and then you do the rest, because nijer personal touch is very important. Because not everyone will have, let's say, a loud voice. Not everyone will move their hands as much as I'm moving them. So it's very important that you make it your own, or else you'll suffer. Karan, yeah. How do I practice when I'm alone? That's a very good question. I think that's something I read. How do you practice is very important. To just do it to a mirror easily. You can easily do it to a mirror. Aina samne giye keep talking, see how you look, see how you sound. Or even better, I would say, because আমরা এখন obviously সবার হাতে technology আছে, because the mirror point is actually একটু আগে, like from the origins of public speaking. আজকাল যেহেতু technology আছে, just record yourself doing it. Because মানে record করে, you don't have to, obviously some people might not like doing that, but it's not like you have to show anyone. It's just for yourself. Record yourself doing it, talk through it, and then see the recording. I know onek cringy lage to look at yourself or to listen to yourself, but it's very important to, I'd say, listen to yourself and then see where you're going wrong, see where you're going right, and keep a note of that. If anyone, I think that's mostly my core points. Okay, one question: how to overcome nervousness? I think it's not a one-day thing. Aste aste hobe. Once you go up, once you start speaking 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, it'll happen. Other than that, I would say beginner, like try and focus on one thing, and just tell yourself the worst case scenario kichui na. Like even if you fail, tomar ekta public speaking will not ruin your life. আর আরেকটা জিনিস that আরেকটা জিনিস যেটার জন্য মানুষ মেমোরাইজ করে হচ্ছে to avoid stuttering. And I would just like to say, just stuttering has no value. Stuttering does nothing to you, nothing back to you. But to make a stutter, it doesn't ruin anything. If you stutter something, nobody, the judge, the audience, they don't really think less of you as long as you can go back on it. But তুমি যদি stutter করে সব ভুলে যাও, and if you lose track, that is an issue. So কেউ stutter করে ফেললেই I've seen people, like when they started, I can see it in their eyes that they've lost hope. And I think you really shouldn't, because stuttering is not the end of the world. Shall I pick a random? Yeah, you can do that. I think that's always a good place to start. Karan ekta random topic tulle, then you will feel the need to research, and you won't rely on your own knowledge, and then you can learn in your own fashion. Na hoile, if it's something you already know, then nije expertise dite giye you might lack somewhere. How to improve our speaking skills and overcome? Yeah, I think basically the same point. Speaking skills is same. Recording yourself, looking in the mirror, just even normal day to day. What should we? Yeah, so that's a really good question, Tamid. Emotion, yeah. So obviously, if it depends on the kind of speech it is. I mean, so Tumijit, if you're speaking about, let's say you're explaining a car, or like I don't know, like a graph or something. Often, obviously, you need data. That's how it happened. But if you're talking about like something emotional, the fact now you can't. you can't like put into numbers, say, okay, this makes me feel 10 on 10 happy, 9 on 10 happy. So tokhon you go into emotion and more reasoning and you speak from experience. So obviously, depending on the topic, the balance comes and the mixture of the balance comes, because it depends, of course. Opposition makes me nervous. Opposition. Acha, hai, that's a good question. Opposition makes you nervous. If this is a debate question, then hai, opposition, it's the opposition's job to intimidate you. So hai, opposition ke dekhe nervous is not an issue. But also, what I said is the opposition's job to make you scared. So you know, ora, they're not better than you. So ora, you know, they're scaring you only because they're trying really hard to scare you. So don't lose out. To me, you stick to your basics. You look to your teammates. You look to the judges, because the judges are meant to keep a neutral face on. So that Takaile is always comforting, to be honest. If I'm out of words or lost track, how can I give it back? Acha, that happened to me a lot. Sometimes, like debating Shama, you don't always have like adequate content, and you lose track of what you're saying. But I think it's important, Jay, you look at the pointers, and I'll give you guys a peek of how my speech looks like. It's not a written thing. It's not like I've written paragraphs or an essay. It's all pointers. So if you lose track, there's no embarrassment or there's no harm in taking a piece of paper with you. So to me, just look at the pointer and then think of it. I'll give you an example. Like, okay, going back to my stupid Boishak example, what do Bengalis do in Boishak? So, hey, আমি first step বললাম যে গান বাজনা হ্যান, and then I forget the rest. So then আমার একটা পয়েন্টে থাকবে যে friends houses. এখন friends houses গিয়ে তো you don't need to write down যে I go to my friends houses, I meet them at gelato. You don't have to do that. তুমি just friends houses দেখলেই তোমার মনে, like, you're supposed to remember যে কি I was supposed to say. So hopefully that should go. Share some personal experiences. Personal experiences, as I said, I'm a debate MUN kortam, but moving on from that, even school, I was very sporty. So because on the side debating kortam, even in terms of sports, amake always pathaito to talk to the coach, to talk to the teacher, just sir amake ei tournament e jaite den, oi tournament e jaite den. So all of that comes together. Our experiences can be something very little to something very high. So even something as normal as going to the store yourself and talking to the shopkeeper, or going to the restaurant and standing up for yourself, je tomake keu kharap khawa dise, and you go like, and I've seen a lot of people go like, na thak bolbo na. But if it's tomar pao na thake, if you've paid for it, then learn to make your point. That also helps. What do I do if I suddenly go blank, don't know what to say? Again, I think that obviously that goes away more with time, but I think it's a very good option to keep pointers. Just একটা word লিখে রাখবা on a piece of paper, wordটা দেখলে মনে চলে আসার কথা. How do you make people engaged when you're presenting? I think, again, like all the points I said, mostly like eye contact, knowing your audience, having a powerful stance, make the audience feel respected, make jate tomar effort ta samne chole ashe. That's very important, because other than that, hobe na. So it's very important that you earn the audience's respect. Thank you. One of them, I don't know what WS means.
I have no idea either.
How do you make people engaged? Yeah, I think it's a similar question. Same thing. Sometimes I don't find anything to say in the middle. Sometimes I don't find anything in the middle. So what should I do? Fair enough. Ota hotei pare, because সবসময় it won't be a topic that you know a great deal about, and it can go both ways. এখন আমাকে কেউ যদি ক্রিকেটের উপর কথা বলতে পারে, আমি আধা ঘন্টা কথা বলবো, which is way more than what I should. So it can go both ways. So খুব having too much and having too little are both problems. But having too little I think, just again, I know I keep going back to my pointers নিয়ে কথা বলবা, যা জানো ওইটা সুন্দর করে explain করবা, be confident and honestly wing it. A lot of times লিখতে গিয়ে অনেক ইয়ে হয়, and honestly, I don't think you will have things you will lack things to talk about when you properly explain things. So if you are taking time, as I said, your pace is very important. If you're speaking slow, if you're explaining every single element you're talking about, I don't think it'll be a problem for you that you will lose things. So running out of things to talk about is only more of an issue when you rush through your content. So if you have depending on the content, if you time yourself right, then I think that's what matters mostly. How do you do? One more question here. How do you do research for MUN? Research for MUN is not. It depends on your what what do you call it? What committee you're in and what country you're assigned. So, tomar jokhon let's say you're in the environmental committee ta, or tomar countries, I don't know, let's say Peru. So you go and you look up Peru's first day. It's a good idea to look up Peru's policies in terms of environment, or their what they do, what laws they have, what laws they're lacking. Because, like in my example, Peru is not a very developed nation in some cases. So, do they have specific laws and regulations for environment? तो वही भावे. How can we enhance our speech? Enhancing speech, I've spoken a lot about it. So if you want, you can rewind. But in general, छोटो করে বলতেছি যে same thing. Like obviously, content is number one. But other than that, your stance, eye contact, respecting the audience, making sure you're explaining every little element, making sure you look the part, making sure you're well dressed, you have a good stance, you don't look closed off, you don't look. Try not to look nervous. I mean, being nervous isn't the worst thing in the world, because nervousness sometimes produces a lot of good things. But yeah, how do you increase your vocabulary? Vocabulary is a problem even I have. Thank you, Priyuti. But I think the easiest way and the most easiest way and the most enjoyable ways to read books, which I should do to be honest. Books থেকে you get the most vocabulary. I mean, if you're not a big fan of books, watching good English movies is always a good thing. Depending, or Bangla movies, মানে তোমার J language vocabulary বাড়াতে চাও. And I think that's good. Podcasts are always a good tool as well. Sometimes the judges differs from ours. I think it's from ours. So should we go connection, like what, how, why? Or should we go for storytelling and unique ideas in case of public speaking? হ্যাঁ, এখন it depends on the topic. এখন if it's something very opinion based, যে ও আমার এটা ঝাল লাগছে, ওনার এটা মিষ্টি লাগছে, you can't do anything with that. তো তখন হচ্ছে if it differs, then it differs. You respect the judge's opinion because the judges are obviously in a higher position than you in that particular competition, and you don't disrespect and you go with it. But you also make sure you put forward your point properly. You defend what you're saying. যে আমি যদি বলি যে I feel this way, I need to make sure that at least, even if they disagree with me, that at least they know why I feel this way. So ogula shop jene, if they disagree, then fine. Then there's nothing else to really do. But yeah, and what, how, why is always a good base to start. What, how, why is always good. So tomar, it's always possible. It's good if it's possible যে তোমার story মধ্যেই if you can pick out the what, how, why. So if you've prepared a speech in your head, and if you're thinking, if it's a story based like speech, then তুমি নিজেই চিন্তা করো যে আচ্ছা আমি কি স্টোরিটাতে have I covered what, how, why? Like, is my speech too much what? Is my speech too much how, why? এগুলা না হওয়া is, good. So sometimes blah blah blah. What to say in the end of the speech to empower speech to people? It depends on the medium. It's always good to let's say if it's a total 8-minute speech, then it's always good to finish your stuff in 7 minutes. Our last minute to summarize korte, karon we're humans, we forget things. So to me, what you're saying in minute 1 might not stay with someone at minute 7. So তুমি যখন 8 minute গিয়ে you refer back to minute 1, it's a little reminder. So মানে এটা মাথায় পপ করে যে আচ্ছা ও তো ফার্স্ট মিনিটে এটা বলছিল. So it's always good to do that. I think lastly, if you summarize, I've in making this point, I've spoken like in talking about Bangladesh's economy. I've spoken about this economies of scale, RMG, eta shita, and I've said this, and I hope it went through to you. So last to summarize, I would say important, or else it's very easy to forget what you said initially. Can you say something about what's the main thing for a beginner? Yeah, beginner debater, I'd say vocabulary is important. Your style of speaking is important. It's very important that you look in the mirror and you record yourself doing it. It's very important যে তুমি যখন জাজেসদের সাথে কথা বলবা, you put your point across. Like traditionally অনেক ভালো schools আছে who debate English-এর জন্য, I'd say Manarat, etc. So the judges will not expect you to be a champion debater from your first speech, but what they would like from you is the ability to put your points forward. So firstly, তুমি যদি অনেক stutter করো, অনেক ভয় পাও, that's not a problem at all. That will go with time. So don't lose heart. What's important is you enjoy what you're doing. তুমি ভয় পাবা না. Don't try and memorize. Don't write essays. কারণ তখন এটা তোমারও কষ্ট হবে. It'll also make the speech less attractive. So I think that's mainly what I'm trying to say. What to say in the end of the speech to empower. Yeah, so again, to me, last year, I think if you summarize, honestly, that should be it. Like, to me, if you summarize এটা বলছি, and therefore this is my view, and that is why I am correct. You don't necessarily have to say I am correct, but ওইটা মানুষ যাতে বুঝে যায় from what you're saying. With simple words, like, it's, I don't really know what exactly you mean, but it's always good to, again, just to keep looking at the judges, like, smile if it's appropriate. If it's a really sad topic, obviously don't smile. But other than that, it's always good to engage. Like, it shouldn't be যে you're looking এদিক ওইদিক, you should be looking at the judges, কারণ judges are tired থাকতে পারে, they might be having a long day, so they might zone out as well. So you need to try and make sure that they don't zone out. How do I face questions before? So MUNs obviously are very different from debating. MUNs, you have to be a lot more level-headed. Tomar, you need to be diplomatic, which is a really good question. So just be respectful, because in an MUN, you must remember you're representing a country. So এখন যদি আমাকে যত বাজে জিনিসই কেউ না কেউ বলুক about you, you must remember যে hypothetically you're representing a country, so it's always important to be respectful and put your point forward and respect everyone else, because disrespect or একটা rash response দেওয়া, গালি দেওয়া, কাজ করা, informally কথা বলা obviously doesn't work out for you. Can you suggest me some tricks? Achha, before that, I just saw a question: how debate helps in MUNing? I think it's very important, because debate, I'd say, my personal opinion, MUN is easier than debating. So debating, if you can get your speaking right, it will help you so much in MUN. You will already stand out. Your speaking style will already definitely be better. Can you suggest some tricks? No real tricks, honestly. What I said: smile, engage, have a good stance, keep talking. How do you improve your reasoning? Reasoning, always a good way to start your reasoning is always facts. So if you can slip in facts, if you can slip in data, tomar reasoning improves, I would say. How can we develop our skills? Again, practice. I would honestly say there's very little to do except practice, and to record yourself, look yourself in the mirror. And look up, good podcasts, look up really important speeches, look up a lot of I've seen a lot of like graduation speeches by a lot of famous actors and everyone, and actors are always a great place to start, because or inherently they're very good speakers because they have to do it for a living. So that's always good. I think I don't know if you guys watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but Okhan Jay, the main guy, I forgot his name, he did a speech at a university, which is so good to watch, and you learn a lot from it, like how to put humor and everything in it. What to say in the end of speech? Yeah, bro, like what I already said, as long as you summarize and put forward facts, it should empower you anyway. Yeah, I don't I think I've already answered the debate MUN thing. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question. How do you think social media has affected the confidence or like public speaking in general?
I think social media generally in all aspects can be very advantageous or can be very disadvantageous. So as a child, you could be using it to watch like educational YouTube videos. You could be watching cartoons that help your vocabulary, or you could be watching things you're not supposed to be watching. So social media shop aspect, there are pros and cons. And in terms of public speaking, in terms of confidence, I think social media is good, because it does help confidence. It can help confidence. So because when you're posting a photo of yourself or a video of yourself, or you're writing a status, it's inherently you are voluntarily putting something out there. Content creators are not just YouTubers. Also, তুমি যখন একটা status দিচ্ছ বা তুমি একটা ছবি দিচ্ছ, you are involuntarily making content. So when you put yourself out there, I think automatically confidence টা বেড়ে যায়, because even if you're posting a normal photo, now you are voluntarily doing it for people to see. Like that is, you're comfortable with people seeing yourself or seeing your photo. So I think it definitely works. But in this case, debate question so debate question আটকা যায়. Yeah, I think what helped me most was আমি pointers লিখে যেতাম. So আমি যদি 10টা আমার পয়েন্ট থাকতো, হইতেই পারে যে আমি লাস্ট 3-4টা ভুলে গেছি, কারণ অনেক লম্বা লম্বা স্পিচেস হয়, 8-10 মিনিট হয়। তো ইটস ভেরি পসিবল যে ভুলে যাওয়া যায়। তো আমি যখন ওই পয়েন্টার্স গুলো দেখতাম, um, তখন আমার মানে ইট উড ওয়ার্ক ফর মি। এখন let's say if the motion is যে আচ্ছা Singapore is a great country to live in, I would have a lot of points, right? Economy, standard of living, and then তো তখন আমি হয়তো ইকোনমি মনে রাখছি কিন্তু আমার স্ট্যান্ডার্ড অফ লিভিং ভুলে গেছি। সো তখন when I see standard of living, automatically I should remember যে আমি স্ট্যান্ডার্ড অফ লিভিং নিয়ে কি বলার কথা। So yeah, thanks Akash. I think these are just repeat questions.
So you have recently made a podcast, right? It's called Deshi Kotha.
Yeah,
Could you
yeah.
tell us a bit more about that?
So podcasts, I think podcasts are a great place to start because I'm not someone who necessarily, I don't know, enjoyed talking on camera about, oh, hey, man, for fun, ঠিক আছে. But podcast gives me the opportunity to speak about something I want to, like just chill kore from the comfort of my own home and everything. So I think podcasts are good. And the story behind my podcast is I wasn't always a huge podcast fan, but then the topics I enjoy, so things like sports or I don't know, food, stuff like that. I used to enjoy listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos. And আমি অনেক সময় দেখতাম যে আমি একটা YouTube video চালাই, I'm just listening to the audio. তো তখন আমার মনে হতো আচ্ছা podcasts are a great way to pass time কারণ video audio থাকলে you have to watch something and you have তোমার full focus. Podcasts are a good thing, are a good like kind of filler if you're doing something but you also want something in the background. So that was the main story behind it. And what I do mainly is I bring on people I think have something to contribute. So I think in the beginning I had a really close friend of mine who's a magician and a fashion blogger. So Otta was very interesting because magic is not the most common thing. So a lot of people were very curious how he got into it. So things like that. Recently I had Sakib on who founded Read the Capsule and everything, the Capsularchy. So that was also great because a lot of people follow the Capsule Ajkal. So it was really great to know how the capsule came about. Airport during like peak COVID, I had Tashfia on, who was one of the first 15-20 people infected in the whole of Bangladesh. So our experience that was very unique and very different from the rest of the people who got infected later, of course. So I think things like that. I think that's pretty much why the podcast came about. My podcast, essentially. Can you suggest some public speaking competitions or platform for high school seniors? So depending on your school, you should be able to sign up for debate competitions and MUNs. Debate competitions usually team thake, but MUNs are individual. So if you keep a lookout, MUNs paba onek, and in general onek online, there are multiple ways to kind of work on your skills and everything. আপনার ডিবেট জার্নিটা কিভাবে? ডিবেট জার্নি স্কুলে ছিল, মাই মম রিয়েলি ওয়ান্টেড মি টু, আম্মু ভাবছে যে এটাই আমার অনেক লাভ হবে জেনারেলি ইন টার্মস অফ মানে নলেজ বাড়বে, কনফিডেন্স বাড়বে, and she was absolutely right. So that's mainly how it started. I was actually also not very big on it because আমি just সারাদিন খেলাধুলা করতাম and everything. So debate আসে. How to maintain proper body language? Body language is personal. It's obviously everyone's body language is different, but generally some of the basic things you should be doing is have a power stance, don't be closed off, don't cross your arms, don't make it look like you're unapproachable, don't make it look like you're that you don't want to be there or that you're too nervous. If too nervousness is fine, but so it's best that the audience doesn't figure it out, Jay, you're too nervous. So just own it. Karon there's no worst case scenario ki hobe ekটু stutter korba 10 second kotha bolba na, you can hop right back on it. If your rest of the speech is good, nobody's going to remember your 5 seconds of stuttering. So I would always say go chill, just dhukar age just chill, because there's no worst case scenario. There's nothing that can go wrong. There's very little depending on the speech. Even if you have small speed bumps, small hiccups, you can always recover very easily. Just don't blank out, basically. First debate tournament was আমার একটা NSU তে একটা tournament ছিল. I was in class 6 and we were way younger than most of the other teams. So অনেক learning experience ছিল. We didn't do too well, but we really enjoyed it. Like we enjoyed the time we got, everything. Meeting some of the best debaters out there and learning from the best. There were some rounds that we lost so badly, but we learned so much from the people who beat us, to be honest. How do I manage debating if I don't have that's a problem. So firstly, it's always current debate, since debating is a team thing and you can't win by yourself. it's all, yeah, you try tomar, if you've discovered something in your research, then share it with the team, oderke bujhay bujhay bolo, not in a bad way, not to insult them, because obviously not everyone's good at everything. So just, like, do that basically, and then try and get that across to them, but also at the end of the day focus on your own speech, because even though debating is a team sport, if you have one person who gives a really strong speech, that can take you a long way to winning. So just make sure you're also doing your stuff right. মানে নিজেরটা স্যাক্রিফাইস করে বা নিজেরটা ডিসহার্টেন্ড না হওয়াটা ভালো। ডিবেটিং এর জন্য কোনো ভালো কোর্স I'm actually not sure. I think Coursera বা কোথাও হয়তো আছে, but again I think debating অনেক personal. You can't really teach debating. It comes from practice. But it always helps to watch old videos কারণ আগে অনেক ভালো বিটিভি ইংলিশ ডিবেটিং হতো, বা lots of Harvard debating is very famous. So Ogula YouTube আছে, I'm sure. So Ogula dekle, it'll definitely. Who always supported you in this? In terms of debating, it was my mom, my parents who were on it. In terms of the podcast and sports blogging, it's mostly my friends. My parents aren't really aware of what I do with that. So it's mostly like other people who like feedback from the people consuming my content, mainly that. In which was I was first speaker. So PM or leader of opposition chilam. So I had to like set the tone. How to be more confident. There's no straight answer. If I knew that answer, then I would be the richest man in the world, honestly. How to be confident is very personal. Tomar nije asta asta ashbe. As I said, confidence can increase from something as little as going to মানে মুদি দোকানে গিয়ে মামার সাথে কথা বললেও কনফিডেন্স বাড়ে, because you learn people skills. So every little experience can help you gain your confidence. So but if you keep trying to evade it, যে আমি একটা রেস্টুরেন্টে গেছি, I need to ask for water and I make my friend get it, যে দোস্ত তুই একটু জিজ্ঞেস কর না, that's what messes you up. So you need to take responsibility and do it on your own, and তখন আস্তে আস্তে, that's how I'd say confidence increases.
Any other questions?
First debate, NSU একটা tournament ছিল, was ages ago, I think 2013-14 হবে, না আরো আগে 2012-13 হবে.
So when did you start debating? Like, when did you start?
When I was in class 6. So very early on. So aste aste, first I was very bad, and then it's not like I ended up being a champion, but aste aste ki help hoise, and experience helps. Thank you, Fariha.
So I think it's better to start as early as possible, right?
Sorry? Yeah, it's always good to start as early as possible. A lot of schools have very good debating kind of bases, but a lot of schools don't, unfortunately. So তখন the responsibility is on your own, because Amarjan, it was good that my school had a good base, I had a good instructor, and then পরে, even though the instructor left, we still had আমাদের তাও grooming টা হয়ে গেছিল. But if you are unfortunate enough to not be in a school যেখানে debate অনেক encourage, তখন it's good to like learn on your own, YouTube stuff, etc. I think that always works.
So, like, Bangladesh, other than debating and MUNs, what would you say? Like, how can someone get into public speaking?
So public speaking এর জন্য, I guess when you're young, the best way is debating and MUN. Other than that, again, my general experiences tomar could be like societies, school clubs বলে আর কি, মানে যে club, sports club, guitar club, এই club, ওই club, ওইখানে if you're part of the clubs, তাইলে even if you're not part of the public speaking club, regardless of what club you're a part of, you mix with people, you learn to make your point যে আচ্ছা, মানে if you're deciding something, যে একটা problem হচ্ছে, like there's a disagreement, but you put your point forward, even that helps. Clubs help. And once you get to uni, societies, unito clubs হয়তো বলে, বা societies যাই বলে, ECAs are basically extracurriculars, যত করবা তত helps. ওইখান থেকে mainly, even sports helps, to be honest, কারণ sports, so you learn to mix with people, you learn teamwork, that all adds together at the end of the day, that helps you.
You guys didn't have any classes for speech or anything like that, right?
We didn't,
I guess, right?
Not classes ওভাবে ছিল না, but we had like once a day, once a week আমাদের একটা session হতো আর কি with our instructor, and he would give us tips, but again he wasn't really a teacher, মানে আমাদেরকে খালি guide করতো আর কি. So, but the rest was up to us, actually, how we would capitalize on it. But it was very important to retain what he was saying and learn from it and pay attention. Like, what are you planning to choose
Yeah.
as a profession?
Uh,
We already work in accounting, so motamoti that is my day job, like profession. So for now, that is what I'm doing. Um,
yeah, I believe that like it would be really helpful if there was a class like in school for speech, like in the
that would be
U.S.
great. Yeah. Public
Yeah,
speaking
in
card.
the U.S.
Debating সবাই ভয় পেয়ে যায়, but public speaking generally থাকা উচিত. Definitely, I agree. That's a
Like
big, big skill.
like for in the US, like Amar Jamon High School, we had to take a speech class, like Shabar speech class korte hoto. It's like a mandatory class for you to graduate. So I think that was really helpful.
That's,
Or
yeah,
like
I'd say
yeah, like
anything is all of that is important. Who's your idol? No real idol. Obviously, like my parents, my mom mainly huge inspiration and everything. In terms of what she's achieved and like in the professional world where it's not easy to be a woman. So I guess my mom mainly, but Oricom I wouldn't say idol ache. It's more like what I can achieve and what I'm trying to achieve. Future plan, I think there was a question about future. Future plans just to kind of continue what I'm doing and try and have an outlet to follow my passion, like writing, podcasts, and then, but also like try and do well at my regular job. Become anxious when talking to on a good talking to if you are. Easiest for me, ভুলে যাওয়া হচ্ছে pointers লিখে রাখা পয়েন্টার্স লিখে রাখলে ইটস ইউজুয়ালি বেস্ট হাতে একটা কাগজ রেখে পয়েন্টার্স লিখে রাখা ইজ ইউজুয়ালি দ্য বেস্ট ওয়ে টু গেট আউট অফ ব্ল্যাঙ্কিং বাট ব্ল্যাঙ্কিং তাও হয় এটা মানে যে ইটস পসিবল অ্যান্ড হবেও মাঝে মাঝে হবেও লাইক ইটস আই এম নট গোনা সে যে জাস্ট পয়েন্টার্স লিখলেই সব ফিক্স হয়ে যাবে বাট again it's important to learn from it যে আচ্ছা when am I blanking out because I'm too nervous or am I blanking out because আমার preparation নাই so যেটা flaw আছে ওইটা identify করে to work on that essentially would be best. Life refers to ফার্স্ট ডিবেট অত ভালো ছিল না আমি অত ভালো পাই নাই বাট অনেক শিখছি আর কি ফ্রম দ্য ফার্স্ট ডিবেট ইট ওয়াজ ওই তো এনএসসি ছিল বাট আমার পুরো টিমটাই খুব ইয়াং ছিল সো উই ওয়ার অল লার্নিং সো দ্যাট ওয়াজ গুড and our instructor helped us out a lot the judges helped us out a lot because they recognized যে আমাদের first tournament. Who's your favorite debater? I think our favorite debater would be our first instructor, this bhaiya called Sinha Ibn Humayun. He was exceptionally good. I don't know if he's still in the circuit, but if you look him up, he's brilliant. He was very helpful, very nice guy.
Acha, I'm gonna take a moment to give a shout out to our sponsors without whom we could not have managed this event. Our title sponsor is Protik Ceramics Limited. Our co-power sponsor is H2O Hydrate Your Makeup Vanity. Our semi-silver sponsors are Shonda Kebab, Fresh Fish, and MS Sujan Shipping Line. And finally, our photography sponsor is Time Ahmed Photography. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Love from Laurel. Laurel, what's Laurel? Laurel's is cool.
We actually have like different houses in Plexus
Oh, I
For
see.
Youth. So
Cool. Sorry. Yeah, cool. Love.
Yeah.
Back to Laurel.
And I'm from Rivia, so we have
Thank you,
three
my name
houses.
is Apu. I hope after session to useful get shared.
I think we have gotten to most of the questions, and it really was a great session. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I mean, I genuinely didn't know what to expect, and this was like honestly beyond my expectations. It was really good. Thank you, Candescent Carnival, and thank you because you kept conversing with me the whole time and telling me what to do. and like communicating really well with me, and like really good host as well. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. And life is going okay. Just trying to stay safe. I hope you all are too. And I hope একটু হইলেও help হয়েছে, and if not, then sorry. But if there's any further questions, feel free to like hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I'll try my best to help you out. Like no worries at all. Just send me a message request or something. No worries. Or if you need anything else as well, like writing নিয়ে বা blogging নিয়ে, or sports blogging, or general writing, or even essay writing or whatever, then like obviously I'm no expert, but I could try it.
And for those of you watching from home, stay safe, and stay with Plexus.
Thank you so much.